Welcome to the Sunday morning worship service at the DuPage Unitarian Church. My name's Linda Clark, and I am a member of your board. Unitarian Universalism is a faith tradition committed to creating a just and flourishing world for all people. Our Universalist theology tells us that every person is worthy of love. Thus, when we say, whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. This is our message of love to you, inviting your whole self into this space to help us create a world centered on our values. We invite you to learn more about us and consider joining the community to enact our values of equity, justice, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity.
A week away. Yes, clap with us. And we're going to sing too. A week away, 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 a week away. Little harmony maybe? Week away, a week away, a week away, a week. Okay, now keep clapping, but stop singing. Ready? Get your tickets before this Thursday. That's when the fun begins. Saturday is the live event when you find out what you win. Here we go. A week away, 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 a week away. Here we go. Stop now. At the auction, the UU auction, the funds for everyone. Annabelle will be in the nursery so that your kids can come. Yeah. A week away, 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 a week away. All right. A week away, a week away. We'll end on a nice big ooh. Ready? I'll give you the cue. 1, 2, 3, ooh. Ooh. All right. Nicely done.
Silent auction goes live Thursday, so get your tickets now. And if your kids are coming, please let the auction team know. Check out the amazing catalog of silent and live items on the site, and they've all been donated by you.
Now I have one question for you, and I want you to answer in unison, as loud as you can. How far away is the DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church 2025 auction fundraiser?
A week away!
Oh my God, our work here is done.
Now, if you're online, please greet each other in the chat, and if you're here, please turn to someone you did not come with a wave and a smile. Welcome.
As we kindle this flame, we honor and remember those who have passed into the mystery. Their brightness lives on in our vision. Their courage lives on in our commitments, and their love continues to bless the world through us.
Welcome. Welcome to this place of love, this place of communal flourishing. We gather each week to open our hearts, to expand our minds, and to see the sacred within each other. Today, we have a special welcome to the witches and the wizards, to the ghouls and the ghosts. Welcome to corporeal beings and those who are intangible but present nonetheless. May all who gather here be welcome in this place as we remember those who came before and honor their legacy that lives on through us. Today will be a little bit fun and a little bit serious. And at the end of our service today, we will exit to a lot of fun. But this remembrance space will remain open for those of you who would like to take some time to reflect. Please feel free to stay for a bit with our altars and the lights. Our pastoral ministries associates are here today. If you are a pastoral ministry associate, could you please raise your hand? Thank you. If you would like to speak with one of them after the service, they'll be here in the sanctuary and also out at coffee hour. You can also reach out to them later in the week if that is helpful to you. Welcome. Come. Let us worship together.
Please rise. Please rise and bow to your spirit and join in our hymn, We Give Thanks. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all that near and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all that near and those far away, for this food we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Please join me in our DUUC mission statement. We gather as an inclusive community to grow in character, mind, and spirit, and to transform the world toward fairness, love, and compassion. The vision statement of DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church is our dream, who we wish to become. Please join me in reading our vision statement. We strive to boldly enact our values toward a just world as we nurture our growth to become a more inclusive and deeply connected intergenerational community. The actress Mindy Kaling said, "Gratitude is the closest thing to beauty manifested in an emotion. Giving of our treasure is how we reciprocate the many gifts we are given by this community and how we live our values in the world. Each Sunday, we offer our financial gifts to both this congregation and to an organization that gives life to these values and makes a difference in the world. This month's special collection is the Alive Center of Naperville, nominated by Dean Rushke, who was a founding member. Its mission is to be a teen-led, teen-driven center focused on empowering the youth of today to become the impassioned, resilient leaders of tomorrow. As a nonprofit organization, they offer free drop-in hours after school and offer and over the summer as well as myriad programs, classes, events designed to build confident and resilient teens. As we pass our offering plate, know that it is a vessel that connects us to each other through a gratitude and generosity. So give freely your thankfulness and abundance, that our values can forever take hold in the world. An altar is a consecrated space that allows for the holy mystery to be honored. Whether your theological persuasion is Orthodox or pagan or humanist, one of the most sacred acts that we honor in church life is that of life itself. And life cannot fully be honored without acknowledging and honoring death. It is the cycle of all things, change and transformation into new ways of being. We see change in both the everyday changing of the seasons and in the expansive course of our lives. The summer is fading fast. The harvest is upon us. Pumpkins, apples, and the splendor of autumn leaves. The frost has come to take the tender plants, and it has started to darken earlier each evening. Our children celebrate the spooky season of Halloween as they play with death and fear.
In many cultures and religions, there is recognition of this turning of the seasons by acknowledging the circular nature of our lives. Samhain, All Souls Day, All Saints Day, Dia de los Muertos, each in their own way mark the change of seasons and lives, the passing of loved ones. In Samhain, an extra place setting is put at the table, inviting those of our loved ones to return for the night. For those celebrating Dia de los Muertos, an invitation is given at a graveside or at an ofrenda, an altar, to return and be present. In all of these traditions, we remember those who have passed before us. Today, we have created our own altar to honor those who have come before. We hold this space for the stories, the pictures, the objects of lives well lived, well loved, and now honored. We tend this space with love, and today we will share stories of our ancestors.
Please rise in body or spirit and join in our hymn, Where My Free Spirit Onward Leads. Where my free spirit onward leads, well, there shall be my way. By my own light illumined, I've journeyed night and day. My age of time, one cloak I wear, as once I wore my youth. I celebrate life's mystery, I celebrate death's truth. My family is not confined to mother, mate, and child, but it includes all creatures, be they tame or be they wild. My family upon this earth includes all living things, on land or in the ocean deep, or born aloft on wings. The ever-spinning universe, well, there shall be my home. I sing and spin within it, as through this life I roam. Eternity is hard to ken, and harder still is this. A human life, when truly seen, is briefer than a kiss.
As many of you know, my mother, who passed away when I was 5 from brain cancer. When I was 2, she was diagnosed after having a seizure while pregnant with my younger sister. I was young, and I don't remember much of that time besides snippets of memories, like photographs or stills in my mind. Many of my memories are of her being ill, such as sitting at the kitchen table with her hands holding her head. I remember a last-minute trip to Disney World where, despite her illness, she took me on a roller coaster as I bawled my eyes out, terrified through the whole ride. And I remember sitting between her and my dad on the Haunted Mansion ride, scared of the illusions of ghosts that were sitting where people should have been. I remember seeing her in the hospital for the last time, and she made sure that I knew she loved me. But these are all images, stills. They are not the memories, the reels of life. One of the few actual memories I have with her moving like in a film is a sunny, late spring morning when she picked me up at the end of the block at the school van drop-off from preschool. At some point in our very short walk up the block, I started reciting that old rhyme, "Step on a crack, break your mother's back." And as I did so, I would step on the sidewalk crack, and she would bend over and pretend that she had her back broken. At some point in that walk, she turned to me and she looked and asked me, "How will you fix my back?" And my 5-year-old self stepped on another crack and said, "Step on another crack and fix your mother's back." And she would stand up straight. And we continued that scenario all the way home with broken and fixed backs and lots of laughter. It's a good memory to have, and one that I find empowering because broken things can sometimes be fixed. But it is the only moving memory that I have of my mother. Throughout my later childhood and teen years, I would often ask my family about my mother, at least the ones who would speak of her. I wanted to know who she was as a person. I wanted to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. I got a lot of answers as facts. Her favorite color was blue. She was pooped on by a bird the first time she met my dad's family. She was on the high school dive team and broke one of the school records. Every time I pushed for more stories or even facts of her humanity, people would tell stories of her saint-like nature during her illness and death. But that's not what I wanted to hear. It was frustrating. So at one point, I got into an argument with my aunt who said, well, she would say a bad word during card games when things didn't go her way. I kind of gave up after that. I will never know my mother as a human being with all her flaws. I will never know who she was as a person. And that is its own kind of grief, but one I have found to be familiar to many people. And if you've ever worked with me on planning a memorial service, you will know that I insist on ensuring that the fullness of a person's being is included in their eulogy. We are neither the sum of our best or our worst moments, but the full complexity of them all. I understand grief the same way, in a multitude of complexity, which feels like a very important way to honor our ancestors, especially in this moment, to honor our grief of all that is happening. But I also know that even though I don't know all of who my mother was, I do know that I was loved by her deeply. Part of her lengthy illness was because she tried every treatment possible so that she could be with her 2 young daughters as long as she possibly could be. I will cherish that because even as she was sick, I know the sacrifice she made even to walk me home down the block that week. Grief is a complex amalgamation of all sorts of things. This story is one that I suspect many of you share parts of, whether through personal experience or simply the complexity of grief in this particular political moment. The stories of our ancestors are gifts that keep giving, keep transforming us, and keep holding us. Tending to the soul of our beloved community is part of the work that we do to ensure that all people flourish. As we honor the stories of ancestors today, we are now going to take time in our service to share the joys and concerns that face our members and friends. And I have two, and only two today, and they're both mine. I have a great joy of our family. Our oldest child was accepted to Augustana College in the Quad Cities. And I would also ask that you please hold my family, and especially my grandmother, in your hearts. She is in hospice care and actively saying her goodbyes to her family today and yesterday. So please hold all of us, as she will shortly be an ancestor on this table after 97 years of life. Yes. Today, we also honor all of our Hindu friends who have celebrated Diwali this week. And I also light a candle in honor of those in Gaza who have lost their lives, who have joined the ancestors too soon. And I light a candle, maybe, for all of those in ICE detention centers, including our local facility in Broadview, where our Unitarian Universalist ministers celebrated flower communion with them this past Friday. Thank you to all of you who were present as we celebrated a holiday that was actually first celebrated during World War II. All that we are holding in all its complexity, both joy and sorrow, is part of how we are transformed by love. I often use the words of Sikh activist Valerie Kaur during memorial services. Grief is the price of love. This is true of loving one another, and it is true of loving a broken world. As we honor our joys and sorrows, our ancestors and our grief, I look to our chalice, the flame of light that holds us in the darkest of times. The eternal light of our chalice burns bright with all those who have marked our lives and our faith. From this light, we will offer the lights of remembrance for all that have gone before. We invite their presence to this moment, our ancestors and our friends. I invite you to come forward through the aisle, to light a candle or two, or place an object or a picture at our altar. Whether you light a candle to remember someone you loved, in honoring of those you admire, or to recognize the passing season, or the spirit of the many holidays that are celebrated in this moment, now is the time to welcome into our hearts the memory of who and what was.
This morning, we're sharing stories about our ancestors. And last week, Mandy asked me to come up with 3 stories. So I want to share the story of my great-grandmother and great-grandfather on my dad's side. Leslie J. Cooper was born in 1882 in Carson City, Michigan. He went by the name Jay. Jay was a farmer and worked his farm with horses. However, one year he up and moved away to Anthony, Kansas for health reasons. The family lore is that his asthma flared up after he tore down an old dusty house. While living in Kansas, he met Ida Gay Johnson, who worked in a confectionery shop. She was from West Virginia, and she went by the name Gay. Jay Cooper and Gay Johnson were married in 1909 and eventually moved back to Jay's family home in Carson City, Michigan. In 1923, they built a house about a mile down the road from his family homestead. Great-Grandpa Jay loved horses. He had a pair of workhorses that he used for farming. Tess and Stub were their names. And he had a big riding horse called Bird. And he rode this big horse in parades. And my dad told me that this horse loved to be in parades and how it would prance and do fancy steps. My aunt told me that my great-grandma Gay would say that he loved his horses more than his kids. And they had 5 kids. My grandpa Kenneth was number 4. My grandpa is the boy standing on the right. When the kids grew up, the eldest, Carol, and her husband built a house on the property just to the south of Gay and Jay. My grandpa Ken and my grandma Irita built a house another quarter-mile south of Carol. And Ken and Irita raised 8 children on their farm, and my dad was the oldest. Gay and Jay remained in the house on their farm for the rest of their lives. And this is the 2 of them around 1960 in front of their garage. Jay died a few years later. I never met him. However, I do remember visiting great-grandma Gay once when I was a little boy. And she was sitting in the garage cleaning her green beans. After she died in 1973, my dad's brother Donald took over Jay and Gay's house and farm and continued farming there ever since. The house and garage still stands. And a tribute was added by Donald to honor the time the Cooper family has been farming on this land. And last fall, the Historical Society of Michigan named the farm a centennial farm for having been farmed by the same family for over 100 years. And this is Donald and his kids, my cousins Jeff, Brandy, Mindy, and Mark. Sadly, Donald passed away this past spring. But Brandy and her wife and their kids have taken over the farm and will keep the Cooper name attached to this property for at least another generation.
Please rise and body your spirit and join in hymn number, join in We Sing Now Together.
We sing now together our song of thanksgiving, rejoicing in God's which the ages have wrought, for life that enfolds us and helps and heals and places, our own lives expanding, our gratitude demanding. Their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of community now in the making, in every far continent, region, and land, with those of all races, all times and names and places. We pledge ourselves in covenant firmly to stand.
During the American Civil War, the state of Virginia was a divided region, with residents holding both Union and Confederate sympathies. Calhoun County, at the start of the war, was in Virginia, but eventually became part of West Virginia after the state was split in 1863. The county was the starting point for the Confederate Moccasin Rangers, a guerrilla group known for terrorizing Union supporters. In an effort to preserve the local history of the Civil War, the Calhoun County Historical and Genealogical Society appealed to the community for military documents, letters, biographies, and traditional stories associated with Calhoun County and its soldiers. The following is an excerpt from one of those records. It was titled, "Partisan Rangers and Union Recruits Skirmish in Calhoun." Not much damage had been done despite the tremendous waste of gunpowder. Private Sutton Cox of the Union Company C had been shot through the leg and seriously disabled. Private Cox was too badly injured to travel, and Cox well knew that he would suffer ill fate if found by the Confederate soldiers. Painfully, he dragged himself into the woods to find a hiding place. And that night, he made his way to the home of a widow, Mrs. Mary Burroughs, usually called Granny, who lived near the mouth of Steer Creek. The kind old lady dressed his wounds and cared for him for about 2 weeks, keeping him concealed in a cliff where shallow shelter was afforded, and denying to Ranger Scouts that she knew nothing about him. Fearing that Cox would eventually fall into the hands of the Rangers, she appealed to a neighbor, James W. Johnson, for help to get him safety at some federal post. Now, the records failed to mention that James was not just her neighbor, but also her son-in-law. How do I know this? Well, if you remember from the previous story, my great-grandmother Gay, her given name was Ida Gay Johnson, and her grandfather was James W. Johnson, and her great-grandmother was Mary Burroughs, or Granny in this story. That makes James my great-great-great-grandfather, or third great-grandfather. So let's continue the story. James, or as he was known then, Uncle Jimmy, was at heart a Southern sympathizer, but he was also a just and humane man. He abhorred bloodshed and agreed to risk his personal safety and that of his property by rendering aid to a wounded Union soldier that was so badly wanted by the Moccasin Rangers. Uncle Jimmy pondered on ways and methods and finally decided to move openly in a resort of stratagem. Early one morning, he saddled his 2 horses, placing a side saddle on one, and rode to the home of Mrs. Burroughs, Granny. Private Cox was clad in one of Granny's dresses. Her old poke bonnet was placed on his head, with her big steel-bowed spectacles on his eyes. And he mounted the side saddle and with his escort started down the river. All went well within a few miles above Grantville when they came face to face with Robert Wilson, who was directing a squad of Ranger Scouts. The two were stopped, and Wilson began making inquiries. And with rare presence of mind, Uncle Jimmy turned to Cox and said, "You ride on, Granny, for Betsy's powerful poorly. She's a mighty sick woman," indicating that his wife was sick and he had gone for help. Cox rode on, and Mr. Johnson joined him in a few minutes, and together they worked on through to the Johnson home, where Cox was given into the care of a Union neighbor. A few days later, he was piloted through to Harrisville, where after a period of convalescence, he rejoined his company. I have a bonus ancestor story. For a little history lesson, between 1821 and 1824 in Ireland was the Rockite movement. This movement engaged in violent rebellion, primarily in Southern Ireland, and they targeted landlords, agents, and land grabbers, and were met with harsh repression from authorities, including executions and exile. During this time, Archibald Davison was a millwright by trade, a Scotch-Irishman, and a revolutionist in Ireland. The rebel, Archibald Davison, fled Ireland when the revolution he was involved in failed, and he was a marked man. He stowed away on a ship and was hidden in a pickle barrel by the ship's captain, who was a family friend. When Archibald arrived in America, he changed his name from Davison to Burris, and he arrived in Lewis County, Virginia, now West Virginia, and there he married Mary Holbert. You might remember Mary as Granny. And her mother's maiden name was Burroughs, so he adopted that name. So remember, he was still running for his life at that time. So that makes Archibald my fourth great-grandfather.
Please rise in body and spirit to sing Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I make my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my talk, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
In the early 1600s, many English men and women began to question some of the teachings of the Church of England that had been founded by Henry VIII in the previous century. And some of these individuals remained members of the church, but tried to purify them from within, and they were called the Puritans. More radical individuals believed that the church was too contaminated by error to be salvaged, and these individuals separated from the church. The so-called separatists were persecuted by the monarchy and to a lesser degree by the Puritans. And a few congregations of separatists fled to Holland, where the separatists' religious views were tolerated. Francis Cook arrived in Holland as early as 1603, and he was or became a member of the congregation of Clifton Robinson Separatists, who came from Scrooby in England to Leyden, Holland. Francis's spouse, Hester Mayhew, was a French Huguenot, that is, a French Protestant. Although the separatists were able to worship freely in Holland, they found that it was very difficult to make a living there. Most of the separatists had been farmers in England, and they had to learn new but lower-paying job skills in urban Holland. For example, Francis began combing wool for his livelihood. The separatists also discovered that their children were slowly slipping away from the separatist faith in easy-going Holland, and in fact were becoming more Dutch than English. Accordingly, the Clifton Robinson Separatists entered into an agreement with a group of venture capitalists, whom they called adventurers. In England, pursuant to which the adventurers would pay for the passage of some of the separatists to America in return for a certain percentage of the fruits of their labors. And the adventurers also financed the passage of a number of passengers who came to America for purely economic reasons and who were called the strangers. Francis Cook and his son John came to America with the first group of separatists on the Mayflower in 1620. Francis Cook was a signatory to the Mayflower Compact, which first established the principles of democratic government in America. Congregationalist churches evolved from the separatist congregations that came to America. Either by accident or by design, the Mayflower did not land as intended at the Jamestown, Virginia colony, but instead arrived at Cape Cod in November. The Mayflower passengers founded a new colony at Plymouth. Francis and John both survived the first winter, in which almost half the passengers perished. And yep, you guessed it, Francis is also my ancestor. He is on my Grandpa Jay's side, my great-grandpa Jay's side, and he is my 12th great-grandfather. John is my 11th. And in fact, there were several Mayflower voyagers that are my ancestors. John married the daughter of Richard Warren, a stranger, and Peregrine White, who was born on the Mayflower, and he is my 10th great-grandfather. So for better or for worse, I have many ancestors that have contributed to history and actions in this country and others. Across these three stories runs a thread of courage, compassion, and enduring hope. From Jay and Gay Cooper, and then Donald tending the same soil for over 100 years, to Granny Burroughs and James Johnson sheltering a wounded soldier, to Francis and John Cook crossing the ocean in search of freedom. Each faced uncertainty with faith in something larger than themselves. They were people of heart and conviction. They built homes, raised families, and chose care over fear, kindness over cruelty. Their lives remind us that we, too, are part of a great unfolding story, one rooted in courage, connection, and love. And as we remember those who came before, may we carry their spirit forward, planting compassion, cultivating justice, and leaving behind a legacy that future generations will be grateful to inherit.
Our ancestors lead us, they guide us, and they hold us well after they have left this earthly plane. Not only does their love remain, but so does their example, their complexity as human beings. Our ancestors inspire us. They force us to reconcile ourselves to the hard questions and make difficult decisions. Our ancestors help us in our everyday lives, but they also inspire and guide us to extraordinary actions, like resisting authoritarians and rising above hate. Our ancestors challenge us to not only live into their legacy, but to be better than their legacy. Our altar is set, the candles lit, memory shared, and grief acknowledged. We leave this space remembering these legacies and these gifts, remembering the best and worst of each so that we can embrace our own journey into our fullness. At the change of season, when the veil is thin, I invite you to commune with those whose legacies you hold. Consider their lives, live fully in their example, and love more fully into your own life.
Please rise in body or spirit and sing For All That Is Our Life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
As I mentioned before, this space will be open after the service if you would like to take a moment to spend time with your or all of our ancestors. And as you go forth from this place, remember the legacies that you are given, the legacies that give us courage, the legacies that we hold in grief, as well as those that inspire us to love. After worship, there will also be trunk or treating in the parking lot for all ages, not just for our children. And I invite our children out there. Ella, I'm not sure she can hear me. We are going to have a Halloween parade.
Please join